Hi everyone, Radhe Radhe. In this video, we're going to be doing chapter 15, verse 16. And Bhagwan Sri Krishna is explaining about the difference between the material world and the spiritual world in this video. So, um, yeah, there's so much to say. I'm just wondering what to say. I think I'm going to just stick to the format here. I might say some things in the end. I will say some things in the end, but let's do the verse first and then I'll talk about those things. So let's do our prayer. Let's call out to Krishna and let's ask him to help us understand. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dear Bhagwan Shri Krishna, please, please, please just bind us to you. Please bind us to you, and so that we can never go anywhere. Please bind us like a kite is bound by a rope to the person holding it. Please just hold us with that rope that can never break. Just complete, unshakable, unmovable, unbreakable rope. Please, please, please help us and please bind us and please never, never let us get away. Please never let the rope get cut. Okay, so let's sing the verse together. Okay, so yes, let's sing the verse together. Dvavamau purushau loke ksharaschaksara eva cha ksharah sarvani bhutani kutastho uchyate. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living being is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. So now he's talking about the living being. He's not talking about the material. So he's saying the living being is fallible, kshara and akshara. Kshara is fallible, akshara is infallible. So he's talking about fallible means a person, I'm assuming a person who can fall, which means when they're in contact with the material world. So even though the living entities are eternally separated parts and parcels of God, but when we're in contact with the material world, we're called jiva bhuta. And the Sanskrit word is kshara sarvani bhutani, means all of the us are the entire bhutani, means the world. Sarva is all, kshara is fallible. All living beings of this world are fallible, and those who are in oneness with God are infallible. Oneness does not mean they have no individuality, but there is no unity. Disunity means they are all agreeing with the purpose of creation. The purpose for us is to serve, eternally serve Bhagwan Shri Krishna, Radha Krishna. So according to the statements, there are two classes. Yeah, and in the thing in there is no birth, no death, all of that. So Swami Mukundanand says there are two kinds of beings in creation: the kshar and the akshar, perishable and imperishable. He says perishable are all beings in the material realm, sarva bhutani, kshara sarva bhutani. The imperishable are the liberated beings. Okay. Um, although the souls are eternal, so this is the important thing. Although the souls are eternal, so the living beings, the souls are eternal, but because Maya binds the individual soul to the material entity, material body, from the tiniest insect to the celestial gods, even Indra, right? Indra, Brahma, everybody is a Jeev Atma. Everybody is a Jeev. What is the word he used here? Jeev Bhoot. So, so we have to go through the repetitive cycle of birth and death with the material body. Okay, so let's see what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. If you say that you understand that there is one material nature, but you cannot understand how there are many conscious Purushas, then listen, right? I thought there was one supreme Purusha, but I guess we are all Purushas, so I didn't understand this, so I'm just going to read it out to you. If you guys understand, please, please, please help me understand it in the comments. I'll be very grateful. In reality, there are not more than two kinds of Purushas, the Kshara and the Akshara. The conscious Vibhinnams Namsh Jeev is a Kshara Purusha. The Jeev is referred to as Akshara Purusha due to his marginal nature, which is the tendency to leave his original status, Swarup. Those that never leave their Swarup are Akshar Purusha and are Swamsh Tattva. Another name for Akshar Purusha is the Kutastha Purusha. One exists in a single form but is all pervading. Three kinds of this Kutastha Akshara Purusha have been revealed. When the universe is created, the Akshara Purusha is perceived as the inherent, all pervading existence in a state contrary to all material qualities, that is, Brahman. Therefore, Brahman is a specific tattva in relation to the universe. It is not an independent tattva. That manifestation which gives refuge to all the jivas possessing inherent consciousness in the universe, which manifests the pure spiritual tattva to a certain extent, is Paramatma. He is a specific tattva in relation to the universe. He is not independent. This whole thing went over my head. I am not even going to attempt it right now. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is very, very, very highly intellectual and is very difficult to understand him. I would have to read this like a million times and probably listen to lectures about this, a ton of lectures about this, about his interpretation of this or his commentary specifically before I can understand this. Anyways, if you guys understand anything, please let me know. Please help me. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about is I did this thing of Raj Bihari Prabhu. I listened to one of his, I wouldn't say lecture, but like his class. And he was talking about why do we not feel loved by Krishna. So he was saying, let me see if I can, I wrote notes on this, which is very, very important. So there are three things basically he talks about. He says that he's going to talk about this a lot. One of his core fundamental things is that we should become brilliant in basics, and I deeply resonate with that. There is a story of this Shaolin monk. They know how to do this defensive fighting like karate and everything. So they do, I think, whatever. So there was this one guy who used to know many different punches and many different kicks and many different whatever. And he came to this monk and he's like, I want to learn. I know these things. I want to learn these more things. And the guy is like asked, do you know how to? The monk asked, do you know how to do this one basic, very basic punch he mentioned? It's like, yeah, I know how to do that. I want to know other things. The guy was like, do you really know how to do that? He's like, yeah, I know how to do that. I want to do these other things. The monk was like, okay, you show me your punch. You do this punch. And so he put a flame, a candle, and he said, go as close to the flame as you can and then stop without the candle burning out. And so the guy said okay, and he did that, and he punched and he stopped. I might be missing the basic some nuances of the story, but something like that. Basically he did a punch, and it was he managed to get the candle not out, but he stopped a ways before the candle so that it would not burn out or blow out. And then the monk did the punch and he went right up to the flame, something like that. He went like he did a much better job of that same punch. So what he was saying is that it is much better to go deep into one thing rather than do a whole variety. And we as human beings in this material world, we love to spread ourselves wide and thin and do all kinds of things and not go deep into one thing. The most powerful thing you can do is just go deep into one little concept. So when he said brilliant in basics, that's his phrase, brilliant in basics. I so resonated with him. I loved it. So yes, that's what we want to do, is become brilliant in basics. And then So how do we get out of this material world? Basically, he said there's a Krishna Seva, Vaishnav Seva, which is devotee Seva, and Nirantar Nam Sankirtan, means non-stop chanting of the Mahamantra. And so if we want to do these, the third, what are the benefits? We start feeling disinterested in the material world. We want to associate with devotees, and our love for Krishna will awaken in the heart. So the first two is easier. We start to feel, okay, this material world sucks, it's pathetic, we don't want to be here. And we start wanting to associate with devotees. That those two we get to pretty quickly. But love for Krishna, we can do decades and decades of chanting and it might not happen. So why does it not happen? That's what he said. And the way why it doesn't happen is because we don't feel that we are loved by Krishna, and we want to be able to feel loved by Krishna. And he answered, how do we do that? How do we do this process of feeling loved by Krishna? So my way of doing that is gratitude, and it works like mad. I love it. I mean, I would highly recommend it. Just start off by waking up in the morning with some gratitude, right? Thank you for something real, not just the same thing that you're repeating over and over again as a this thing. Thank you for helping me be alive. Thank you for bringing me into this world and giving me this opportunity to come to you. Thank you for having me be pain free if I'm pain free, or thank you for having like putting me in a position. I'm living in a house, I'm warm, I have a bed, I have, like, thank you. But real, feel it. Like, it has to be real, whatever is real for you. Thank you for my kids or my parents or my spouse or whatever. Thank you for something real. And then when you go to bed at night, again, thank you, like gratitude, and build it slowly so that it seeps in during the day as well. That is one of the most powerful things. And what he said also is that Krishna loves us unconditionally, and we don't see that necessarily. So how can we start to see that? Is by loving other people unconditionally. Now, I've been learning how to love for years. I guess I've been trying to learn how to love, and it's wonderful right now because my mom is visiting, and I'm living with her. I'm living with another person, and moms can be very triggering sometimes. But I am really learning how to connect with her in a very real way. For the first time in my life, I'm going deeper than I've ever gone before. And then there are other things as well, like I notice that I always want something from other people when I'm friends with them. Like, I want them to do something for me, or whatever. So there was this neighbor that I've known for about 6-7 years, and she never used to contact me. She never used to call me, and I kept trying to reach out. Let's go out for lunch. Let's hang out. Let's talk. Let's whatever. Call me or knock on my door whenever. I would keep trying to reach out, and she wouldn't. So I was like, okay, she's just one of those people. She doesn't like to have connection and whatever. I started to judge her a little bit, like, that she's not emotionally connected, not this, not that, like, and some time ago, I started this process where I go to the temple on Saturdays for service, and after that I bring back 2 plates of prasadam from the temple, and I distribute it to two of my neighbors. One is an 84-year-old man who really needs help. So this is all I do, but I do something. I do this, and then this girl as well, and she was going through something. It started because she was going through something, and she had a surgery, so I started doing that. But then I was like, okay, I am going to give her this with zero expectations, absolutely no expectations that she will call me, she'll talk to me, she'll give me some time, she'll give me some, nothing, absolutely nothing. All I wanted was some time, some friendship, some communication. Like, I didn't want anything else from her. But even that, I wanted something. So I was like, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to simply drop off prasadam at her house every week, once a week, and at his house. So I started doing that. And it's completely changed. Like, uh, the amount of gratitude she feels, excuse me, she is going through so much in her life right now. And I'm able to be there for her, and she's feeling so good, and I'm feeling so good because I'm there for her. Nothing is, I don't need anything from her. And it's not that I don't need anything from anybody, but just in this process of giving without expecting, I get I get what I need from different people, maybe not from her, maybe right now, but whatever. I get. So, this whole concept of love is about giving unconditionally, not expecting anything from the person, not feeling bad whether the person is giving you something or not, or time, or friendship, or communication, or whatever, even basic, simple little things. Just don't. Find something that you can do for somebody with zero expectations. If this person does absolutely nothing for me, I am willing to do this thing for the person for the rest of my life. Something like that, I'm not taking any extra time out of my life. I'm not cooking it. I'm getting it from the temple for myself as well as for her as well as for him. So I'm not like, it's something I can very, very easily do. So, and I've chosen to do it, and it helps her. It makes her feel loved. It makes her feel, and I'm giving her prasadam, right? It helps her because I'm giving her prasadam, which is offered to God. It's amazing. But even if we leave the prasadam aside, like, she is seeing that I'm loving her without expecting anything. And that's all everybody wants. So when we start to do something like that, and this is a very small example, this is a very small thing, but we can keep increasing this in our lives. Do it more, for more and more and more, even with friends, even with that we are closer with, or even with whatever. We can keep doing this more and more and more, and then the whole world starts to change, and we start to feel loved by Krishna. That's what he was saying, that when we love people unconditionally, and when we accept them unconditionally, then we start to feel loved by Krishna. So anyways, I wanted to share that. And yeah, that's it for this video. Wish you a very gorgeously beautiful day filled with so much spiritual growth and so much mercy of Krishna. I wish you to be at the bus stop, which is, and you don't know when the next bus is going to come, but the next bus is Krishna's mercy, when he decides to give you something, whatever it is, a little bhakti or little next step in bhakti, or whatever it is that he's giving you. But your only thing is that you can be at the bus stop, and you can do your sadhana and be at the bus stop, and when the bus will come is not in your hands, but you be there. And so my wish for you is that you're able to be at the bus stop, and that Krishna gives you his mercy. I'll pray for you, all of you, whoever is listening, whoever is not listening, that Krishna pours his mercy on all of us. Radhe Radhe.